Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Oh.
Have you thought about this movie after we watched it?
Yeah, I've reflected on it.
Did you feel like anyone in the movie represented you?
No, I couldn't see myself in it.
Why is there a mirror on the door?
So I can see myself out.
All this and more on Gory Story Time.
Warning. Gory Story Time is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Story Time. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig. And this week, we're finishing up our series of 4 movies that are about alternate realities, alternate universes. A lot of them...
Dimensions, other stuff like that.
But there was a lot of them that said they were that, but then you look and it was like, they climbed out of hell. And it's like, that's not exactly what we mean by alternate dimension, hell or heaven or anything. Those are their own genre.
I mean, like, technically speaking...
Sure.
But it's not what
we were going for. So, anyway, we got 4. This is the 4th. It's called Mirrors. There is a sequel.
There is evil on the other side, you see?
Anywho, here's the basic premise. It starts with a guy being murdered in his reflection, but not himself. Like, the guy was, how should I put this for not getting in trouble on YouTube or whatever? He
unalived.
Yes,
that's the term they use.
He
on
unalived
YouTube.
himself in the mirror, making the real life him actually get the wound and pass away.
Yes.
I hate saying
that was all disgusting.
But anyway, and you're kind of sitting there going, "Oh no, what is this?" And then there's a guy who, played by Kiefer Sutherland, who ends up going to named Ben Carson, which is ironic. Well, not ironic, but weird because of the guy that ran for president. But anyway, not him. Not the surgeon.
No.
But anyway, he's a cop. He's kind of got accused of something, and you wonder, was he guilty? Was he not? He got heavy drinking for a little while. So while he's in trouble, he gets a job walking around as a security guard at the place where we saw this thing happen at the beginning. And weird stuff starts happening in the mirrors to him too. And he realizes if something happens in the mirror, it happens to him. And the rest of the movie is him being thought of as insane as he tried to get more people to understand what was going on.
You can't trust the mirrors.
Like his wife, that they're kind of separated right now, his kids, like everybody thinks he's nuts because when you say, hey, the things in the mirrors are bad, people go, you're in the mirror. You need
drugs.
Or are you on drugs?
Right.
So basically that's the premise. And these things are trying to get him, and he's worried they'll get his family, so he does what he can to try to protect them from mirrors, and realizes just how hard that is considering there are mirrors everywhere. Anything else you want to add to it before we show him the trailer?
No.
No? Well, let's see how much the trailer gives away.
Okay, you two. You need to finish your homework. You need to get ready for your bath.
I'm leaving in a couple minutes.
Happy birthday. Thanks, Dad.
Well, here you go. That's where you'll be spending most of your time. The company wants us to patrol the premises every couple of hours.
The mirrors, they're so clean.
Fella who was working here before you, he was completely obsessed with these mirrors.
Anybody here? What the hell? I need you to run a name for me. He was a night watchman and I replaced him.
I don't want to die.
I just need to know how he died.
What are you talking about?
I'm seeing things. Bad things.
I'm not acting scared, but he is.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
I'm not the one looking into the mirrors, but they're looking back at me.
There's no one looking back at you through the mirrors. Oh my God.
They can get at you anywhere.
Michael? There's something in the house. You have to be very brave.
Get out of here, now! My family's not dying tonight. What do you want?
All right. So that was not too bad.
Not a bad trailer.
Didn't give away too much. I like that they had some words reversed and stuff to.
And scenes definitely placed out of order, so you don't know where they belong.
Right. But before we get into the behind the scenes information, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to tell you why we're actually here.
Yes.
See, all these years, it's been to amass a fortune. And the way we do that is we sell our star power
Yeah.
to sell these products every week. And these are real products you can actually buy. This week, Gory Story Time is brought to you by Carson Painters. We're a family-owned business that will paint your odd items you want painted. Anybody can paint walls and outside of houses, but we'll paint anything you can think of. Floors, can do. Mirrors, easy. Clothes, sure, why not? Now, you might be asking yourself, why would I want those things painted? And here's the truth. I don't know, but if you do, we got you. Carson Painters, hire us.
And by Onu, the card game that you kind of remember, but in reverse. The object is to get your opponent to get rid of all of their cards first. We have cards that make them get rid of 2 cards, wild cards to change colors, and some that change the color that makes them lose 4 cards. Makes them lose 4 cards. Sound familiar yet backwards? Well, it is, because it's Onu, the game you play to lose.
All right. O-N-U, Onu, huh? Clever. Oh no, it's Onu. Now, is there anything else you want to say about the actual movie before we get into the behind the scenes?
I mean, watch it.
I mean, he says that all the time. Even if it's a bad movie, he says watch it, so that's weird. But
I don't.
You do.
It depends on how bad it is.
Sure. So here's the behind the scenes information. We usually try to do 20. There wasn't a lot, but I dug deep and found more.
Yeah.
So we've each got 10, just like we normally do. But I will say, I shouldn't call it the behind the scenes. I should call it the meat and beef of the show because, some people say meat and potatoes, but this dummy said
meat and beef. Or as I like to call it, the meat and beef of the show.
Right.
Yes.
Shot in Romania. Most of it was filmed in Nicolae Ceausescu's unfinished Academy of Science building in Bucharest. I don't know. CEAUSEC or SCU. Like, I don't know. Nikolai Coscu? I don't know. But anyway.
The film was originally scripted as a straightforward remake of the 2003 South Korean horror film Gory Story.
Alexandra Aja was dissatisfied with the particulars of the original film story. He decided to retain the film's basic idea of mirrors and incorporate a few of its scenes, but change the story dramatically.
This was the feature film debut of Cameron Boyce, and he was only 9 or 10 during production. His dad said he wasn't allowed to watch the film at the time.
Makes sense. Gregory Levasseur had to fill in as director for the scene where Kiefer Sutherland thinks he's on fire, as Alexandra Aja had to leave urgently. His wife had just gone into premature labor.
Wow. In the bar scene, makeup artist Greg Nicotero can be seen as an extra playing pool. He was also in the makeup department for the film.
Paula Patton was cast because the director, Alexandra Aja, and producer Gregory Levasseur had previously considered her for their production P2, which we reviewed. Go back and check that out. That was a decent film.
The name Essaker is an anagram for seekers. This can be an appropriate terminology for the demons who live on the other side of the mirrors seeking out their host, Anna Essaker.
Anna, the first name of the possessed girl, was chosen because it's the same spelled backwards in a mirror. A-N-N-A.
Yeah. Aiming Smart had to be fed through a straw for her big bathroom scene where her character has her jaw ripped off as she obviously was unable to open her mouth.
So they had to feed her through a straw for lunch that day. Burgers are really hard through a straw, though.
Yeah.
In the final shot, as Ben approaches the mirrored building, a little Korean girl in white in a bright pink sweater and her mother pass by the window. The characters are identical to the ones in the final shot of the original film, Gory Story.
Angela Carson's jaw being ripped off by the ghosts is an homage to the Ju-on and the Grudge franchises, as the main antagonist, Kayako, has a tendency to do this to her victims.
All right. The UK theatrical version was cut by Fox to secure a more commercial 15 rating. That's like the age.
Yeah.
That's how they do it. The edits included removing of a blood splash in the opening, shots of a burned, partially naked woman screaming, shots of a jaw being torn apart, and a close-up of a neck being cut with scissors. The DVD was released with an 18 certificate and features the uncut print. So in their theaters, it was a lot less.
Okay, so they got a scene we didn't. With scissors?
We got that.
I don't remember a scissors
We got
scene.
that.
Okay.
Well, I guess if you weren't watching your phone when you're supposed to be reviewing a movie.
Well, I remember enough to like it. The logos are backwards, and at the end of the credits, the title appears backwards.
Near the beginning, Ben puts his left hand on the mirror. Suddenly, a large bloody gash is across his palm. When he gets up, the blood and slash are gone. He catches on an imaginary fire, puts it out, slapping it with his hands and stuff, and gets no blood all over his shirt. But then, when he gets home, his hand is bloody and cut again.
Oh. In early scenes when Ben is walking through the Mayflower, his jacket alternates between zipped and unzipped.
After Ben gets Anna's file, he sits down to review it. At this time, his hand is bandaged from the cut. When he sits down and proceeds to review, there is no bandage. In the next scene, it's back.
Huh. When Ben is painting the mirror, the amount of paint changes between shots.
Ben returns to deal with... Now, if it was slowly just getting more that would be
like
one
that
thing.
Makes sense.
But I don't think that's the case, or they wouldn't have brought it up. Anyway, Ben returns to deal with the large mirror and fires a volley at the mirror from a Glock pistol. On the second volley, the pistol is empty, but there are clicking sounds. A Glock, as with most semi-automatic pistols, won't click after the last round in a magazine is fired because the thing slides back and stays.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. So, fail.
Yeah. Ben is looking at the newspaper clippings on the Mayflower fire. A close-up of one clipping reveals it is to be the same paragraph repeated over and over.
It's just the same. All right.
And then,
now,
Rotten Tomatoes is a website that exists on the internet.
And the theory goes something like this. We take all of the known critics' scores that are positive or negative, and we just combine them and tell you the percent that were positive. The higher the number, the more positive, etc., etc. And then the people get to vote and do the same thing. So what do the critics who think they're smart about movies think of this movie?
Only 14% of the critics reviewed this positively.
Which isn't as good as the people, and usually with horror movies it is the case. But the people have it at 44, which is still a failing grade. It's still rotten. I honestly don't believe it deserves that.
No.
But I'll get into that after. All right, since we like this movie, not caring about what they think.
Right.
Since ours is going to be positive, what is your least favorite thing?
Shoot, I even just had it when we were talking about this.
I don't know, dude.
You go first.
Okay. My least favorite part is something that I find annoying in a lot of horror movies, and they do it here, and I just want to call it out as a thing that needs to stop. They have somebody discover the actual thing that's going on in a horror movie.
The very reasonably crazy thing.
No, but the thing is, it is the thing. And then they tell a sibling, a spouse, an ex,
Killer
a
clown
coworker,
from outer space.
Something. They tell somebody, and that person always goes, but that's insane. That's not real. What? Another group of teenagers killed at Crystal Lake this year? That makes zero sense.
Right. What are you, smoking the pots?
Now, I get why they do it, because they want you to be frustrated with the person who doesn't believe it. But if someone comes up to you and says, hey, I look in the mirror and my reflection does different things to hurt itself and I feel it, but I'm not doing those things, you would think they were crazy too. Yes, it's supposed to make you frustrated with the person not believing. Like, why don't you believe your ex-husband that's a drunk? Probably because of the words he said.
I mean,
like with the Jason thing, like it makes like
less sense people wouldn't believe it because it keeps happening.
But with the ones where it's like this,
okay, one girl had something to do with this 40 years ago and then went into seclusion,
right,
and never told anybody, and now it's happening to you, like
basically.
Okay,
basically. So, and well,
I
she told
that.
a couple people,
a couple people, and it's happened to a couple people.
But
along
the
way,
point
whatever,
is,
sure.
That's my issue with it. Is I've seen that so many times, and it's like, you know, they're trying to make you go, well, screw his wife because how dare she not believe him? It's like he's saying craziness. He's saying insane things. What is she supposed to do? Go, oh, well, hold on, let me get my crack, and I'll be back to believe you.
Like, honestly,
she shouldn't believe him, even though he was right.
Like, until something presents itself to prove him
and
right.
When it did, what happened?
She was like, "Hey, you were right. Help me."
What's your least favorite part?
All right. Probably. Okay, definitely. There was a couple of shots of the building that were very bad CG from the outside.
You said it at the time,
I said it
too.
at the time. Yeah, that's it. There was a little bit of bad CG in a couple of shots. So, you know, F this movie, right?
No. No. But anyway, all right. Since I went first, I'll go first with my favorite scene. My favorite scene is the opening scene, and it's not really spoiling much because, like,
The mirrors are bad.
it's in the first 5 minutes of the movie. This guy's trying to escape the things that are in the mirrors, and as he's trying to escape, like, they start talking to him through the mirrors, and only he can hear it. And he's like, "What? No, I wasn't trying to escape." And then his reflection, looking at him, just kind of grins evilly, pulls out a piece of broken mirror, and goes across his throat. And then it cuts to show the guy whose hands are at his sides as his neck is opening up, and it looked really good.
It did.
That CG was good.
It was good.
So, yeah, like, it just started off with, okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the Asian cinema getting redone over here, whether it be from Japan or from South Korea, they tend to not end up killing anybody if you really watch. Like, nobody ends up dead. It's like the main characters all survive, and they just talk about the people that died years ago, and it's like, well...
Prove it.
Right. It's like, we should have seen some of that.
I don't believe you.
But they keep them PG-13 that way. Anyway, this was an
Not.
unrated thing. Anyway, that we watched the unrated version.
Of the already R-rated movie.
Right. Yeah. So, what about you?
Well, it started to show a little bit of it in the trailer, just like it did with his. But main guy's sister, Ben's sister, is at home trying to take a bath, and her reflection that was still in the mirror rips her jaw off, and it's disgusting, and it's bloody, and it's all over the place, and it's amazing.
And it looks a little corny when it's someone just yanking their own mouth, but when you just see the result on the person not doing that, and their face is just splitting in half.
Oh my goodness, it was beautiful.
Pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It was really well done.
Like, I could have went...
Greg Nicotero?
Yeah, I could have went with that. But the thing was, I give an edge to the one I said only because it kicked off the movie. And I was like, okay, wow, I'm in.
Rock and roll, let's go.
Yep. All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you rate this movie?
I'm going to give it a 9.
See, I honestly believe that sometimes what he does is he sees that something's poorly reviewed and he feels bad, so he kicks it up a notch as a screw you to Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm changing it. It's an 8. But it's...
And I'm going to give it a 7, which is still, by the way, it means I will go out of my way to watch this movie again.
Oh, yes.
For me, a 5 is, it was worth watching. I don't know that I'm going to go out of my way. Like, if it's on, I won't shut it off if there's nothing else better. But I'm not going to search it out again. 7 is, I will search it out again. 9 was a bit much there, bud. I even think 8 was. But it's a little more reasonable than 9. Because it's not that good.
I will have to be checking out Mirrors 2. Which from all of the things I looked at, it doesn't look like it's even related.
I mean...
Like... completely new cast of characters along with new cast of people.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I guess it makes sense. These guys finished this story.
I mean, kind of. Yeah. I have no...
So I said, 8? You said 7?
Yep.
It is streaming on a named service.
Yeah, and they don't pay us, so we don't say it. No. It's just... we don't advertise for real.
Yeah.
We've got joke advertisements every week.
We do.
I mean, real advertisements.
But if you've got that service...
you can actually play ONU.
No, not that. This, dummy. Yeah, go watch this movie. It's really good.
Yeah.
Like, really good.
And quickly before we do the end things, I just want to say, I don't know if we had mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but... I think we were saving it to say after we did this. We've been doing 4 movies in a grouping for years now.
Oh, for a really long time.
But when we started, we used to just do a horror movie, whatever tickled our fancy. And we're going to go back to that because what we found over the last few years is we'll be in the middle of like a set of 4 and something new will come out and we'll want to review it and we'll go see it like in the theater And then it's like, do we split up? Hey, I know we were doing 4 movies about this topic, but we're going to squeeze this in. Or do we wait till later and kind of people are not...
It's already done. Nobody's looking for it anymore.
Right. So to give us that little bit of more variety, and sometimes it's hard. Like finding 4 movies and some topics isn't the easiest thing. So we're just going to do it, and if we ever think, hey, here's one that's worth doing 4, we could go back to it in the future. But for a while, we're just going to do one movie at a time.
Comes to us.
No themes.
Oh, yeah.
No month-long themes. But anyway, now throw the stuff up there.
Bingo. All right, so you can watch this show on Fact TV channel 1082, Thursdays at 8:30 p.m., and Fridays at 7 p.m.
You can like us on Facebook, and when I say us, what I like to say every week is, I mean Fact TV and Gory Story Time. Got over 1,000, or over 1,200, I think.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
You can go to factdate.com, watch a bunch of the back episodes of this, as well as thousands and thousands of hours of content.
Really, it seems to be the case. Heck, with ours, half hour each,
there's probably 1,000.
No, but we've got over 250 episodes, right?
250 episodes, so that's
over
125 hours of us alone on this show.
Then
you had a show before this that was an hour long.
Oh, I know, but anyway, the point is, go to Twitter if you want to have unrelated content, and follow me at Craig Jakes, all one word, all lowercase.
I'm at Jiggly Fur Brain. I only tweet things that he says that I find funny in or out of context. Usually out of context.
Yeah. And go to YouTube, type in Gory Story Time, and the 2 pages that'll come up that post them is the Fact TV page, because I don't mind them putting it on theirs, and then I've got my own page. Like, subscribe, smash the the notification bell, all that stuff for both.
And until next time, I've been your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and father, Craig, and
sweet dreams.